melodies that are in Hallel, which we spent, if we were together every day, we would have done Hallel together every day, but we did 2 Hallels this week. And yeah, just to sort of get us in the mood for the end of the Chag and Shabbat. So I'm gonna pull up I'm gonna spotlight myself and also share my screen so that you can see some of the lyrics. And as you may or may not know, you can still put your screen back into gallery mode. So if you prefer to sing while you can see everybody else, you can still do that. And here we go. Yai, 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 ay, 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 oh, ay, 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 oh, ay, 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 oh, ay, 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 oh, ay, 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 oh, ay, 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 oh, ay, 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 yedid nefesh avarach amanishok avdach eretz onach, oh, yarut avdach kemo aya yishtach ave muhadarach el muhadarach, oh, yeravlo yedidutach minofetzu vechotam, oh, ay, 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 oh, ay, 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 oh, ay, 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 welcome again to anyone who joined us a few minutes late. We are singing into Shemini Atzeret and singing into Shabbat and sort of singing into Simchat Torah. We're singing into it all without a traditional Kabbalat Shabbat, but with appropriately themed melodies. So some from Shabbat, some from the Chag and Hallel, and just some others that I like. So I hope you enjoy. And the words are on the screen. And just as a reminder, you can always take it off of the spotlight and do gallery if you'd like to see who else is here and sing together. Ya 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 na 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 ya 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 ay 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 nine 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 ay 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 nine 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 ay 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 yiram nine 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 ay ay nine 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 לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק, ועמים באמונתו. איי איי ניי 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 ניי, איי איי ניי 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 ניי, איי איי ניי 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 ניי, איי איי ניי 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 ניי, איי איי ניי 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 Adonai Zecharanu Yivarech, Yevarech et Beit Yisrael, Yevarech et Beit Aharon, Yevarech Yirei Adonai, Aktanim im Hagedolim, Yosef Adonai Alechem, Alechem ve'al bnechem, Beruchim atem Adonai, Oseh shamayim va'aretz, shamayim shamayim Adonai, ve'aretz natan lifnei Adam, lo ametim hallelujah, ve'lo kol yordei duma, v'anachnu nevarech ya, ne'ata v'yad olam, ne'ata v'yad olam, hallelujah. Yididam dai nai nai and nai nai, yididam dai nai nai ay and nai 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 and nai nai, yididam dai nai nai ay and nai 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 and nai nai, ay and nai 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 and nai nai, ay and nai 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 and nai nai, yai nai 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 nai, yai nai 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 nai, yai 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 nai, ay 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 nai nai nai, ay nai 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 nai, ay ay nai 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 nai, ay ay nai 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 nai, ay ay nai 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 nai, ay nai 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 nai, yai nai 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 nai, yai nai 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 nai, ay nai 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 nai, ay nai nai nai, ya nai 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 nai, ya nai 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 nai, ay nai nai, ay nai nai nai, ya nai 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 nai, ya nai 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 nai, ay nai, ya nai 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 nai, peace kuli Sha'arei tzedek ha'avovam odeya, Pitzuli Sha'arei tzedek ha'avovam odeya, Zeh hashar l'Adonai tzadikim yavou bo, Zeh hashar l'Adonai tzadikim yavou bo. Ay nai 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 nai, ay nai 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 nai, ay nai nai nai, ay nai nai, ay nai 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 nai, ay nai 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 nai, ya ay nai 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 nai, ay nai 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 nai. Ay, 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 nai, 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 ay, 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 nai, 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 ay, 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 nai, 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 ay, nai, ay, nai, 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 ay, nai, ay, nai, nai, ay, nai, ay, nai, nai. Zamru Adonai, we get to the theme of the evening about singing out to God, singing out in praise and melodious song. This is one verse from the middle of Kabbalat Shabbat, a tune that I think we all know well. Yai nai yai 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 ay 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 yai nai 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 yai nai 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 hi nai nai hi nai 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 nai, I nai 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 I nai nai, I nai 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 nai, I nai I nai nai nai, I nai 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 nai, I nai nai nai, hi ay ay Zamiru Adonai bechinor, bechinor v'kol zimra. Zamiru Adonai bechinor, bechinor v'kol zimra. Zamru, zamru, l'Adonai. Zamru, zamru, l'Adonai, Zamiru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor v'kol zimra. Zamiru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor v'kol zimra. Zamru, zamru, l'Adonai, Zamiru. Ladonai. And we'll end this section, and then we'll hear from Marilyn with the final words, or just about the final words of Hallel. Baruch haba b'shem Adonai, beirachunchem mibeit Adonai. Baruch haba b'shem Adonai, beirachunchem mibeit Adonai. El Adonai v'hayoel lanu, Yisrochad bavoti matana tamizbeach. El Adonai v'hayoel lanu, Yisrochad bavoti matana tamizbeach. Eli ata ve'odeka, Elohai aromemeka. Eli ata ve'odeka, Elohai aromemeka. Adon Adonai ki tov, ki leolam chasto. Adon Adonai ki tov, ki leolam chasto. Yididai nai yanai yanai nai yanai. I nai yanai ay nai yanai yanai ay nai yanai ay yanai nai nai. Baruch haba b'shem Adonai, beirachunchem mibeit Adonai. Baruch haba b'shem Adonai, beirachunchem mibeit Adonai. El Adonai v'hayoel lanu, Yisrochad ba'avoti makanot hamizbeach. El Adonai v'hayoel lanu, Yisrochad ba'avoti makanot hamizbeach. Eli ata ve'odeka, Elohai aromemeka. Eli ata ve'odeka, Elohai aromemeka. Adon Adonai ki tov, ki leolam chasto. Adon Adonai ki tov, ki leolam chasto. We have the privilege this evening of hearing from Marilyn Heiss about, well, I won't spoil it, about her favorite holiday. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Go for it.
Well, as Rabbi Russell said, as some of you know, in part of my life, I'm a Jewish educator. And when I was teaching down in the South Bay, the first day of teacher orientation, and everyone's asked to share what their favorite holiday is. And again, whoever gets me I'm always like, my favorite holiday, Hoshana Rabbah. It's a holiday and it's a commemoration that, again, for me, it lets me once again honor the teaching of my teacher, Rabbi Ellen Liu. Because without Rabbi Ellen Liu, I would not know from Hoshana Rabbah. But one thing that Rabbi Liu taught us and brought us, and I, just as an aside, just say, in this year that we're going through and we're about to go through, and as we're going through, I just want to say that Rabbi Liu brought me and many others a real appreciation for the Jewish sacred calendar and the cycle of that year and living in that year. And I know I've said this a lot, and you'll probably hear it from me. If you hear anything from me, you'll hear it again. But I just want you to know that having that cycle that has existed for so long does a couple of things. It grounds us in time, that in a time when grounding in time is really hard to come by. And we have this ancient tradition that just keeps us moving forward, whether we like it or not. It is not convenient, as we always know. But maybe this year it's more convenient than ever. And so I just want to invite you to dip into that. And Hoshana Rabbah is part of that cycle that's really important, and another way of stopping point. And so what I want to do today is bring you a little bit of Hoshana Rabbah, because sadly, I couldn't have Hoshana, and I say I because I take this personally, but I couldn't have Hoshana Rabbah today, and we couldn't have it. And one of the joys of Beth Shalom is we do Hoshana Rabbah, and don't think there aren't people out there who know that we honor that tradition in a way that very few people do these days, and we embrace it because it's a legacy of Rabbi Lou, and I have taken it on as a tribute, as something that I love to do and a tribute to my teacher, and wasn't able to share it this year. So I'm going to share it this way, and I thank the rabbis for letting me do this. And I want to give you a feel for actually what it is, because there's got to be some of you out there to say, really, Marilyn, like Hoshana Rabbah. And also to thank you again, because even though I'm mourning that I couldn't really experience and share the real full Hoshana Rabbah, because of that, I had to do certain study that brought me a new teaching that I wouldn't have gotten if I was just preparing to lead the service. And so, you know, there's always a little light that comes in through the darkness. So here we go. So what is this Hoshana Rabbah thing? So what it is, it's actually, this is the end of the holiday cycle. Yes, I know tomorrow is Shemini Atzeret, and then there's Simchat Torah. So there are these little, but they're actually the codas. Hoshana Rabbah, like officially, like rabbinically, you know, I would say biblically, but that's a little stretching it. The end of the holiday season. So what do we do? Well, it's actually, the liturgy itself is fascinating, because those of you who come know, we mix weekday, Shabbat, Shalosh Regalim, High Holiday, Nusach, all the tunes that we do. And again, as one, and I again thank Congregation Beth Shalom for having people who appreciate the fact that you really work to do the correct Nusach and the correct tunes, so that that's a, you know, it's a layer that is really, you know, wonderful to share when you get there. And I'm so happy there are people who appreciate it. But you have to, like, you hold the entire holiday season in your hands that day. We all do. We kind of relive and go through the holiday season with some psalms that we only do on those days, or the tunes that we do on some of those days. And the shots, the shliach zibor, the person who leads the service, actually even dons a kittel at one point that echoes Yom Kippur. So there's that. And there's also, and this is a teaching that I got directly from Rabbi Lou, who says that the rabbis say, like, I know that at Nila, we talk about the gates are closing, and they're closing, and they're closing, and the gates are closing, and Yom Kippur, and the gates are closing. But the gates actually, they're open. There's a crack, but they're open, and they stay open. And they say that the gates actually close. Some would say that gates never really close, and I give that out there to all. But the gates actually, they stay open through Hoshana Rabbah. And that's that time. So, you know, so it's really kind of, you know, it's really that wonderful thing. Now, part of the Marilyn Heist kind of drash on all of this is that what I love about it, and it's what I love about Sukkot, it is the most pagan holiday that we have, that it really echoes our pre-Hebraic roots. And I will say in full disclosure that I like love this. I like say it all the time. And Rabbi Lou almost like every year would be, Marilyn, enough with the pagan stuff. However, it does give that like real, I mean, it's not like pagan, like, oh, all these gods, whatever. It's pagan in the way that it is part of our tribe. Does go really deep, that Abraham got it from somewhere. And it also, in this time, I will say, it also shows that we can adapt what we've had that maybe worked and bring it into the rituals that we have now. So I really love, you know, this pagan thing. And let's get real. What do we do on Sukkot? We take a lulav and an etrog, we take branches and a citron, and we march every morning. We do a little Hoshanot saying, please save me, please save us, to whatever. So, you know, just like think of that around the Torah. Really, it's a part, Torah is kind of a part of it. But so, I mean, it's not like the clues aren't there, that it is there. And I think that's something that can be embraced, not put aside and said, oh, what a Shonda pagan root. It's something that we folded in. And to be clear, the Mishnah does describe a ritual in the temple on Sukkot where they brought the lulav and etrog, and they have the willows near the altar, and they do a hashanah, and they say, "Save me." So it did get folded in to what we do kind of early, and it's there. And so what are we doing when we march this around? What are we doing? Some might say, and I'll invite you to bring in, maybe we're summoning, maybe we are actually summoning a divine spirit, God, Adonai, whatever you want to say, please save us, help us survive. We really need this help surviving. And we're putting that out into the universe for whatever we feel the universe can answer us. And survival in that time meant water. Because this also takes place as we're finishing this holiday season. We're also in a transition as we're going from the dry season to the wet season, as on Shemini Atzeret, one of my favorite times, we're going to say the prayer for rain, to bring rain. So Hoshana Rabbah brings also that transition into it, right? So it's this time of transition. And those willows that I talked about, what's the best part? The culmination of Hoshana Rabbah, we take those willows, and willows represent water, right? Willows represent water. And we take those willows, and 5 times in this congregation, sometimes more, not saying who, but there you go, we bang those willows to get the leaves to fall. What are the leaves falling? I don't know. Maybe it's the rain that we want to come, and we're getting those leaves to fall like rain. I'd say maybe we're also, as we acknowledged on our sins on Yom Kippur, we're watching our sins fall and letting them go. As the gates are still open, we can still release and get through. But here's where the teaching comes in that I wouldn't have gotten any other year. Because as we're banging those willows, what do we say? We say, Kol mivaser, mivaser ve'omer. Kol mivaser, mivaser ve'omer. Voice, announce, and say. Voice, announce, and say. Say what? Here's what I realized today. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's liturgy that follows it, whatever. But that's not what it is. It's and say. I think at that point, I invite all of us. And maybe if you get a little bit of Hoshana Rabbah today, tomorrow, as you're going, think about this. Voice it, announce, and say. Whatever it is, this culmination of this season of prayer has brought to you. And bring it out. And maybe you can acknowledge where you've come from, where you've been. You announce it now and release it into the present moment. And maybe that's one way that you can prepare and really free yourself for whatever it is that lies ahead. Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach.
Yasher koach. Thank you, Marilyn. I love that idea of the nusach and bringing together all the pieces of the holiday and the transition and all you mentioned. So thank you for sharing that with us. Your favorite holiday. I don't know that anyone else can say that. So yashar kochech. Well, now, before we move to the Psalm for Shabbat, we will say a Misha Berach for those in our community who are in need of healing. As I usually do, I'll read our community list and invite anyone who wants to add a name to please unmute themselves in just a moment. Misha Berach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah Hu Yivarech v'Rapeh Tacholim Eliah ben Raza Shena Tobi Ladmer Ephraim ben Leah Ephraim Margolin, Moshe Chaim ben Sarah, Ran Ormland, Beryl ben Muto Devora, Yocheved bat Pesha Chaya, Yitzchak Davi ben Simcha, Elona Adina bat Edo, Chaya bat Miriam, Nachum ben Yisrael, Meir ben Yehudit, Gershon ben Esther, Shmuel ben Lev, Yosef ben Bertha, Yehudit bat Zahava, Nathan ben Miriam, Yorim Benjamin, Chana Malka bat Yosef Rachel, Avraham ben Miriam, Baruch ben Sarah, Shlomo ben Rizel, Batya bat Tehila, Tova bat Chana, Yaakov ben Yehudit, Freda bat Yehudit, Avraham ben Avraham, Shulamit bat Devora, Diane bat Sibia ben Mordechai, Rich Friedman, Aaron Yankiv ben Mala, Edel ben Freda, Yudel Hirsch ben Golda, Chaim ben Chaya Rachel, Greg Martino, Dorothy Malloy, Kineret bat Sarah, David ben Masha Shefcha, David ben Yochanan, Julie Fouts, Gershon ben Yitzchak, Shlomo ben Nechama, Shoshana bat Ruth, Devorah Malka bat Liba Ata, Yitzchak Yosef ben Nechama, Jonathan Adam, Ephraim ben Leon, Chaya Gitzo bat Chana, Abidor ben Chaya, Rivka bat Su, Moshe Lo bat Sarah, Shena bat Pearl, Avram bat Edman, Yaakov ben Miriam, Yosef ben Shmiel, Saran bat Sarah Bashia, Yitzchak ben Sasha HaKohen, Yitzchak ben Tzriel, Melech Libo ben Malka, Elisheva bat Sarah, Shlomo Natan ben Menachem, Mendel ben Nechama, Malka Rucha bat Edel, Catherine Wurzburg, Herschel ben Meir Vigittel, Ve'et Sandy? You're muted.
Nebat Gittel Gunter Ringstorf.
Thank you. Marilyn.
Daphne Nachama bat Shana Leva, Slava Rachel bat Lily, Shlomo ben Sue, Shai Avidad ben Valfura, Jacob Blake.
Thank you. Geraldine.
Roberta Gelt, Marcia Gelt.
Thank you. Randy.
Julie Chandler, Susan Charlo, Barry Berkowitz, and Bobby Kimmelman.
Thank you. Jean.
Malka bat Leah, Donna Vron ben Sarah, Cindy Ofer, Nomi bat Miriam, Willa McNally.
Andra.
Sarah bat Rivka Rosa.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, Jean-Jacques Esther.
Oh.
Alibi. Thank you.
Anybody else? Any other names to add?
The President of the United States, the First Lady, Joe Biden.
Thank you. Any other names to add this evening? ואת כל החולים בקהילה הקדושה, הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא רחמים עליהם להזיקם ולרפאותם, וישלח להם מהרה רפואה שלמה מן השמיים, רפואת הנפש, רפואת הגוף בתוך שאר חולי ישראל, ויחזק את ידי העוסקים בצורכיכם, השתה בגלה בזמן קריב, ונאמר אמן, רפואה שלמה. We'll continue with the psalm for Shabbat, Psalm 92. Mizmor shir liyom hashabbat, tov lehodot ladonai, ulezamer leshimcha elyon, lehagid baboker chastecha, ve'emunatecha balilot, ale asor ve'ale navel, ale higayon bechinor, כי שימחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידיך ארנן, מה גלו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. Tzadik tamar yifrach, ke'erez balvanon yiskeh, shetulim beveit Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu od yenuvun beseva deshenim verananim yiyu lehagid ki yashar Adonai suri velo avlatabo. And we sang this phrase last week as we thought about entering our Sukkah for the week. This is from the Ma'arif service in the paragraph of Hashkivenu, that we should all be sheltered by peace, just sheltered with God's love and God's peace. And even though we might not be sitting in our sukkah this evening, still a blessing for all of us, and that we should have that into Shabbat and into this evening and the whole weekend of the Chag. Ufros aleinu sukkot, sukkot, shelomecha ufros aleinu sukkot, sukkot, shelomecha eyo, oh, eyo, oh, yanananana, yanananana, yirinananana, yirinanana, ayananana, yanananana, yirinanana, yirinanana. Oh, say shalom bimromav, huyas shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, amen. Yanananana, yanananana, yirinanana, yirinanana. Oh, say shalom bimromav, huyas shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, imru, amen. I'd now like to acknowledge those in our community who have passed. I want to welcome and recognize Roberta and Jesse Fink, who are with us this evening, and just say sorry for your loss, Roberta, and may your father's memory be a blessing. I know you're far away from your family, and your community at Beth Shalom is with you. So glad you're here tonight, and may your dad's memory be a blessing to you. This week, we remember Roberta's father, Shelley Mindich, Gerald Strauss, Judy Einzig, Roman Zilberman, Tanya Epstein, Kathleen Kerr, Elaine Dalfin Moskovich, Ruth Tepper, Geula Shapiro, Shirley Kimmel, Ethel Grushke, Betty Jane Abrams, Gregory Jones, Leonard Lewis, Ruthie Brosnick, John Wexelblatt, and those who are observing a yard site this coming week: for Ernest Balash, Hyman Cohen, Martin Donig, Lenora Fisher, Benjamin Givush, Evelyn Kahn, Leonard Levy, Alice Mashfine, Eleanor Michelle Meyer, Anna Rautenstein, Samuel Silver, Irene Tabatsky, and Isidore Weinberg. Are there others who we are remembering this evening? I'll invite those of you who are saying Kaddish, if you're willing to unmute so we can say Kaddish together, and rise if you are able. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra v'yamlich mafbeh, v'chayecho v'chom chaye d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'shari v'imru amen.
Amen.
Shmei Rabba Mevarach, Eloi Me'almaya, Yishtabach, Yisroar, Yisramam, Yisnaseh, Yisadar, Yisalel, Yisalal, Shmei Dekudisha, Berechu, Le'elah, Minkom, Birchasa, V'shirasa, V'shmikasa, V'nechamasa, Kamiran, B'yoma, B'yamru, Amen.
Amen.
Ishlama Rabba, Hayim Aleinu Ve'al Yisrael V'Yisrael
Amen.
Oseh Shalom
Shalom Bimrama.
Hu Yaseh
Shalom.
Aleinu Ve'al
Yisrael V'Yisrael. Amen.
Amen.
Just a quick announcement before we end. Thank you again to Marilyn for giving us our drosh this evening. We meet again on Sunday evening for a Simchat Torah celebration. We will be rolling the scrolls. We've actually already rolled them. And Rabbi Aim and I will be giving some commentaries along the way. We have some Torah readers reading the end of the Torah and the beginning of the Torah. And then at the end, Yori Lane, who I actually don't know, but just met the other night at one of our events, a beatboxer, I don't know, rave kind of a guy, providing us with some music and some dancing at the end of that program. So I hope you'll join us 7:05. We're also honoring 2 extraordinary volunteers in our community, Jackie Shelton Miller and Joe Ratner. So hopefully you'll be able to join us for that. I think that's it. Rabbi, and anything else that I missed? Yeah, okay. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I do want to just say that before this, I got an email request of a closing song. And I'm not going to call that person out, but if they're here, which I know they are, and they want to say who they are and why they requested that song, I'll let them have the stage. Drum roll.
I'm going to out myself.
Thanks, Tomer and Shira.
Shira, I'm going to tell them a little bit about Ufaratzta, the song that we've been singing for Sukkot. So, Shira and I used to go to the Mission Minyan for their big Simchat Torah party, and we noticed that they would always sing Ufaratzta, and I knew the song from it as a kid, but never really thought about it. And then the other month or so, I actually took the time to read the words and look at the Torah portion that it comes from, and it's talking about the different directions that the Jewish people will spread out into in the land of Israel. And that's basically what we've been doing for this whole season, right? We've been thinking about directions, where we are and where we're facing, and sending out our thoughts and prayers in those different directions. So Shira and I just made our new little custom that we're going to sing the Ufaratzta as a fun song to rejoice during Sukkot.
Love that. Thank you, Tomer, for sharing and for choosing our ending song this evening. And Shira, I hope you're singing back there, even though we can't hear you. Ufaratzta, 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 Yama V'Kedma, Tzafona V'Neiva. Ufaratzta, 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 Yama V'Kedma, Tzafona V'Neiva. Ufaratzta, Yama V'Kedma, Ufaratzta, Tzafona V'Neiva. Ufaratzta, 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 Yama V'Kedma, Tzafona V'Neiva, Yama V'Kedma, Tzafona V'Neiva. V'samata b'chagecha v'hayita ach sameach. 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 Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach. Join us for a L'chaim following this Kabbalat Shabbat, or this not Kabbalat Shabbat, this sing. Join us for a L'chaim if you want to stick around. We'll be staying on. Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach, everybody.